I've always maintained that what has been happening for the last 25 years, I mean, I would, even in my writings or other occasions, I've really sort of identified probably Clinton's visit as the major inflection point, then the nuclear deal as the next one, then probably PM Modi's visit in 2014 as the next one. So we've had developments. I would say the overall trend has always been net positive. It's not like we have not had issues with the US. We've had. I mean, I remember, for example, a lot of pressures we got on Pakistan during the George Bush time, at the very time when nuclear deal was also being negotiated. So there have been issues. There were issues even with China. You know, during Obama's time, there was this whole idea of a G2. So what happens with the passage of time, everything looks smooth and nice, and you think this was preordained and it was going to happen. The reality is, it's always, you know, relations, particularly with big countries who have multiple stakes, and we ourselves today are a big country also with multiple relations. They are bound to, you know, there'll be areas where you work together, there'll be areas where you argue with each other. That's the nature of it. I think the key would be to say, okay, at the end of it all, overall, are you ahead? And that's been largely the trend. So yes, right now, I think there are issues. It's pretty open. But I would not therefore take it, you know, first of all, it's not that we've not had issues before, and I would not say therefore other parts of the relationship where the convergences are strong and things are moving, that's not there. That is very much there.
But you've not had a US president come down so hard on India publicly, and also his key advisors, and then slapping you with tariffs and now national security tariffs at the same time when we have a strategic relationship. I mean, we need to explain this or understand this for the audience also and generally.
Well, we've not had a US president who's conducted foreign policy as publicly as the current one. You know, that itself is a departure. That's not limited to India. That's limited, in fact, for that matter, who's not conducted his domestic policies as publicly as this one too. So I think we got to understand, you know, before I come to India-US, that the President Trump's way of dealing with the world, even dealing with his own country, is a very major departure from the traditional orthodox manner of doing so. You know, I'm just giving you some examples. Say, the applications of tariff in this manner, even for trade, is novel. The application of tariffs for non-trade issues is even more so. The fact that a lot of this is said in public, often the first pronouncement is in public, is even more unusual. So this is a situation which the entire world is facing. Now, where we are concerned, I think we have at this moment three issues. First of all, trade. And I think, in my mind, that's really the major issue in terms of the negotiations which are underway. And, you know, negotiations are still going on. But the bottom line is, you know, we have some red lines.
You say negotiations are still going on because we heard the team is not coming.
No, well, look, I mean, negotiations are still going on in the sense that nobody said the negotiations are off. You know, I mean, and people do talk to each other. I mean, it's not like there's a kutti there. So look, there is a what happens is we have red lines. In the negotiations, we have to be clear as to, red lines by definition are lines to be maintained and defended. Keeping that in mind, see what we get. And frankly, where we are concerned, the red lines are primarily the interests of our farmers and to some extent of our small producers. So when people pronounce that we have succeeded or failed or, where are you? The bottom line is, my counter question is, we as a government are committed to defend the interests of our farmers and our small producers. We are very determined on that. That's not something which we can compromise on. So anybody who thinks that, who criticizes what we are doing, my counter question is, are you therefore willing to compromise on those interests? Because I'm not. The second issue, in a way, is being presented as an oil issue. But why I say is being presented is because the same arguments which have been used to target India have not been applied to the largest oil importer, which is China, has not been applied to the largest LNG importer, which is the European Union. When people say we are funding the war or putting money in the coffers of Putin, India-European Union trade is bigger than India-Russia trade. So is American money not, European money not putting money into Putin's coffers? So, and if you look even at trade, look at countries
You say they are getting more from Europe than from us? Is that the point?
The overall Russia-EU trade is bigger than Russia-India trade. So my point is, look, if the argument, there are bigger traders. If the argument is, by the way, percentage of increase, okay? Now, yes, some countries haven't increased the percentage because they've gone and bought oil from Iran, okay? To which also the Americans have objections. So my point, look, there is a certain inconsistency here. And if you look even at exports, I mean, India's exports to Russia have grown, but not that much. I can think of some other countries whose exports have grown dramatically after 2022. And if our exports have suddenly surged, you know what that means.
You won't name those countries?
I think go look at the trade statistics, it's pretty obvious. So here's my point. At the end of it all, I think there is an issue of decisions which we make in our national interest. That's our right. So in my business, we would say that's what strategic autonomy is about. And the third issue pertains to our own region, which is the issue of mediating. Since 1970s, for more than 50 years now, there's a national consensus in this country that we do not accept mediation in our relations with Pakistan. So here's my point. When it comes to the the interests of farmers, when it comes to our strategic autonomy, when it comes to opposition to mediation, this government is very clear. Our positions are there. If anybody disagrees with us, please tell the people of India that you're not prepared to defend the interests of farmers. Please tell the people of India you don't value strategic autonomy. We do. We will do whatever we have to do to maintain it.
There are allegations which come from the other side of not just purchase of oil, but profiting from oil. How do you respond to those accusations?
Look, it's funny you have people who work for a pro-business American administration accusing other people of doing business. Okay, that's really curious. But here's the point. If you have a problem buying oil from India, oil or refined products, don't buy it. Nobody forced you to buy it. I mean, but Europe buys, America buys. So you don't like it, don't buy it.
That's a good point. But at the same time, you've come out in public and now things are that with the previous Biden administration, there was an understanding of sorts or...
No, there was on the oil issue.
Yeah,
it was an understanding. There were a series of very explicit conversations.
If you could
very explicit conversations saying, look, we have no issues with your buying. Look, how did that whole price cap idea come? If the Europeans and the Americans, I mean, you can't say I object to your buying oil, but I have a price cap. The idea of a price cap is you accept that people buy that oil. So the fact that you devised the price cap meant that you accept that there's an oil trade going on with Russia. Otherwise, you wouldn't need a price cap.
But you've been, I mean, that India's role in keeping the price stable, I was trying to...
Absolutely.
There were clear conversations on that?
In 2022, there was deep nervousness because oil prices went up. There was great nervousness, international nervousness about the price of oil. And there was there were a set of conversations with different people in the American administration at that time that if India wanted to buy Russian oil, that's fine by us because it will stabilize the price of oil. And by the way, those, after January, there were no conversations with the current administration saying don't do that.
And this never came up in any of the trade conversations? Never? Anybody ever asked you?
No, I wasn't doing the trade. But no, it's not. Look, our trade conversations pertain to our bilateral trade. Our trade conversations did not, the trade conversations did not go into...
But they are linking it, so they should have obviously...
Yeah, but, as I said, that was not the case. There were no discussions on this issue before their position was made public.
They've used the term national security tariff. We had Shashi Tharoor yesterday who called it sanctions. How do you look at national security tariff as just the way it has been framed and sort of pushing India in that?
I'm not going to get into definitional debates. My point is a very clear point, which is that we are buying oil to stabilize the oil markets. Yes, it is in our national interest. We have never pretended otherwise, but we also say it is in global interest. And you call it what you will, I don't think that is the relevant point. I think the relevant point is that levying tariffs on a country for doing what it has been doing openly with, and which other countries continue to do in larger volumes than us, is, in our view, unfair and unjustified. Beyond that point, whether you call it this or that, I don't think makes a difference.
How do you see the road ahead?
Well, I see the road ahead as, we are two big countries. We need to have conversations. We are, as I said, the lines are not cut. People are talking to each other. And we will see where that goes.
We hear that an ambassador has been appointed.
Yeah, I read about it too.
No views yet on that?
Look, I am a foreign minister. I don't comment on ambassadorial appointments of other countries, not too in public.
No, but it's a good development in one way if you would compare it. Anyway, I'll leave that to you. But you were also, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, you were the first person to go into Kremlin after Alaska?
Not as the first foreign minister.
Yes.
Foreign minister to visit Russia and I guess so.
And met Putin.
Yeah, I guess so.
What is the sense you got of that conversation? Everybody's linking us to that conversation as well.
Well, there were two parts to it. I mean, one part of it was our own relations, and we have a practice of annual summits with the Russians. We are planning one at the end of the year. So a lot of it was devoted to what would happen there. It's an annual exercise. That's how the relationship grows.